Hello everyone, my name is Arya and once again thank you all of you for all of your support and encouragement. And today I am going to teach you a few endgame commandments. So let's do it now. So, as everyone knows, endgame is a very important part of the chess game as this is where the final result of the game is declared. And so now I will give some few overall guidelines and some tips on how the endgame should be played. So the first most important thing is to create an outlet for your king because the king is the most important piece and in the end game there are usually not many pieces to protect your king. So always create an outlet or a square in which your king can run off to in case of any threats. Second thing is that in the endgame, as I mentioned before, there are not many pieces and so to support your own pieces, bring your king towards the center and activate it. So at the same time, you're giving more space to the king so it doesn't get checkmated towards the corner, but at the same time, you're also helping your other pieces to go and attack to the opponent. Third thing is how are you going to attack your opponent? Try to corner your opponent's king because once the king starts getting cornered, there are becoming less squares for the king and more threats from your side towards their king. One more thing is that always try to promote your pawn because as again I'm repeating there are very few pieces in the endgame. So it is important for you to be able to bring more pieces and you can't bring in pieces without actually promoting your pawns. So try to promote your pawn as soon as possible in the endgame. One more thing is that whenever you promote your pawn, you should know how much strength is needed to attack your opponent. So you have to make sure that you don't stalemate. So it might seem that whenever you're going to promote, create it to a queen, but that is not always advisable because sometimes you may actually end up making a stalemate because obviously the queen has a wider range than most of the other pieces. So check how much strength you need and then do the promotion. Then the next point is that whenever you're going to go for promotion, promote a pawn that is closer to your king because once again keep it very important that even your opponent has more scope to actually come and capture your pieces because you don't have enough defenders in the endgame. So always promote a pawn that is closer to your king and keep the king usually in front of the pawn or in the same line as the pawn. I will be teaching that concept sometime later, but it is important that you always promote a pawn that is closer to your king. Another thing is that always try to make sure that the opponent's king does not get activated because when your opponent's king gets activated, it will actually make it harder for you to be able to win the game because then your opponent will get the chance to counterattack and actually come against you. One more thing is that if you have rooks in the endgame and your opponent has any passed pawns, then keep your rooks behind their pawns. Don't keep it in front of it because even though keeping it in front of it might seem as a stronger option, but it is not always a stronger option because your opponent can also bring in some pieces to be able to move away your rook. So always keep your rooks behind your opponent's passed pawns, while in case of your own passed pawns, keep them in front of your passed pawns. One more thing that is very important, if you feel that you are in a winning position, don't try to stalemate. Don't even give your opponent the chance to stalemate. If your opponent is giving pieces on purpose, leave at least one piece that your opponent can still move so that there is no chance of a stalemate anymore. And again, now we will be going into this new concept that is known as opposition. Opposition is a very important concept that I will now be explaining so that you will be able to successfully promote a pawn and would be able to stop your opponent also from capturing your other pawns and doing promotion themselves. So now let's go into opposition. So now let's apply the concept to this position. Obviously, because we want to be the side that gives the opposition, we will play our king to e5 because king on e5 and king on e7 is now in opposition. Once we take king on e5, the opponent is forced to either go back or bring their king in the same line. Once the king actually moves to the same line, we have gotten one of the key squares because in the opposition, these three squares that are common squares for both the kings are actually the three key squares and it is up to us to be able to bring our king onto those key squares. So once the king actually moves king to d7 or king to f7, let's see if the king moves to d7, then we have gotten the key square f6. So now we can move our king to f6. If the king tries to capture this pawn by playing king to d6, now we will just give a check. And now if the king actually comes in front, then this is what we see, that we have lured the king into going to the wrong square. Because once the king has gone to d5, there is no way that this pawn can be stopped by this king. So now this is luring, but if the king actually goes back again, we have to try going into opposition once again. So king to f7. Now once again we have formed an opposition and we have actually captured the square at which the pawn is going to promote. So the pawn is going to promote on the e8 square and we have captured it. So there is no way that black can stop our pawn from promoting. If he still tries and plays king to d8, then we will move our pawn to e6. And now the king is forced to go away. And then once again e7. And if the king tries coming back again, as we have already captured the promotion square, we can play e8. And in this place, it is important to use our queen because it is the strongest piece. And queen on e8, and we will be able to win this game very easily by using the knight technique, which I have already explained in the past 4 classes. So this is how we use opposition to be able to bring our pawns. Now it is important to be able to carefully execute this in the game. It's important that all of you actually practice these different types of techniques and mates that I have actually shared in the lessons, so that you will be able to actually apply them in the game and will be able to execute it successfully.